that are involved in this process. So if you're successful, if I'm successful in avoiding this beautiful piece of chocolate cake, it's my dorsolateral prefrontal cortex that's telling me, Gary, don't eat that cake. I know it looks good, don't eat it. But then there's a part of my brain just above my eyes, the orbital frontal cortex, that's saying, eat the cake, eat the cake. So it's kind of a battle of the brain that goes on. But what's even more important, when people are successful in dieting, it's hard in the beginning, it gets easier with time. When they check their brains out, there's actually alterations in their neural function. So you actually change your brain as a result of being successful on a diet. There's some other interesting, surprising things about the brain and weight loss. If we have time, we can talk about it during the Q&A period. So while we're on food, let's talk about alcohol and wine in moderation. It's associated with a lower risk for Alzheimer's disease. So people often ask, well, how much is a glass of wine? Is it like this? Well, it's more like this. And we're not sure why it is. It may be that people who drink in moderation are just more laid back. Or it could be something in the alcohol. In wine is a chemical called resveratrol. And in animal studies, it has anti-aging effects. So scientists have extracted the resveratrol from the wine, but we're not sure it gets into the brain. We're not sure it passes the blood-brain barrier. So anybody here who's taking resveratrol capsules, make sure you wash them down with a nice Bordeaux, just to be safe. And moderation is the key here, and it's true about caffeine and coffee. In moderation, it's associated with a lower risk for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Now, there's a lot out there about supplements, and there's a lot we know and we don't know. In fact, the new book has a whole section on supplements. One of the problems is they're not all tested in a double-blind fashion. We're testing them at UCLA. We have a study on curcumin. Curcumin is in turmeric and in curried foods in India. There's a lower rate of Alzheimer's disease than in the US. But more importantly, our scientists have found that curcumin is both anti-inflammatory and attacks those amyloid plaques in the laboratory. So we're doing an 18-month double-blind study. We're also looking at pomegranate extract. We did a short-term study, and we found that people who drank 8 ounces of pomegranate juice a day for a month had better memory. But we're not sure. It was a small study, so we're doing now a 1-year study using the extracts. Now, other things to think about, I mentioned avoiding head trauma is important. If you smoke, try to quit. Try to keep a positive outlook. And simple things like treating hypertension or high cholesterol not only protects brain health, but it also helps people live longer. So, can we really prevent Alzheimer's disease? If we think about prevention as being equivalent to a cure, then the answer is no. But the way I think about prevention, I think of it in a more modest way of delaying the onset of symptoms. And I think in that case, there is compelling evidence that we can do something to stave off symptoms. So a way to look at it is here. If we have a decline curve for one individual where that person may become demented at this point, here's non-dementia and dementia, if we can get that person on a program that delays those symptoms for this amount of time, they may have 1.5 years or so of dementia-free life. And if that person dies of natural causes before then, we've prevented the disease. And that's the goal that we're looking for. To definitively prove that we can prevent Alzheimer's disease, it would take a Framingham-like study. It would take 10 to 20 years. And frankly, I don't want to wait 10 or 20 years for someone to tell me, by the way, you should have been exercising and eating right. Because I know if we do those things, we start feeling better, it will help us with other health issues. And another argument that this is effective is 2 of the key Alzheimer prevention strategies, exercise and diet. We already know that that will prevent diabetes. And the latest large-scale studies tell us that if people develop diabetes, that doubles the probability they'll develop Alzheimer's disease. So we're really talking about a lifestyle that bolsters brain health, protects their brain cells, and we add to that cognitive techniques that compensate for the natural decline that everybody experiences. And in the book, we talk about the science. We make it clear, thanks to my wife being my co-author. If it were up to me, the book would be organized introduction, methods, results, and discussion. But she's able to make it accessible to a wide audience. And you can look at it in terms of an individual. Here's a hypothetical person who comes to my office, a busy 62-year-old executive, has a terrible diet, doesn't exercise. I talk him into exercising. So he starts walking every day for 30 minutes with his friend. If he maintained a sedentary lifestyle, according to his genetic risk, he might get dementia by age 72. Now, the studies tell us if he keeps up his physical exercise, he may forestall those symptoms by almost 2 years. So he's getting excited, he's feeling better, he's walking with a friend, so he's lowering his stress level, he's starting to change his diet, he's doing brain exercises, he's doing crossword puzzles, and I think, to annoy me, he's doing the New York Times Friday puzzle in ink. But, all power to him. If you add it all up, he may forestall symptoms by 4 years. So for many people, this could really make an impact on their lives. But other scientists have looked at it in terms of public health. Barnes and Yaffe at UC San Francisco have estimated about 5 million people with Alzheimer's in the US and 34 million worldwide. And they talked about modifiable risk factors, so changes that I'm talking about that are very similar: stop smoking, exercise, lose weight, and so forth. They project the effect of just a 25% risk factor reduction would mean 3 million fewer cases in the US and 17 million fewer cases worldwide. So we're talking about personal health and public health. Now, it's easy for me to say, change your habits. But I know human nature. I know I'll get a traffic ticket, I'll go to traffic school, I'll drive well, but after 6 months I noticed, my God, I rolled through that stop sign. So we all have a tendency to forget. And so when Gigi and I wrote this book, we wanted to try to help people to change their lifestyle, to really create brain healthy habits. So the first thing we tried to do was make it clear the connection between brain health and lifestyle. If we see that connection, we're more inclined to follow through. It has meaning, it's memorable. Second, we created this 7-day program, Jumpstart program. Make it easy, show people how much fun it is. And then finally, give them assessment tools so they can see the results. And in that way, we hope to try to encourage people, motivate them to really change their lives. Because 1 week is not going to make a difference. We're really talking about creating these habits. So let's see how well you did. What's his name? Paul Foreman, very good.
Harry.
Can't forget Harry. Sue Bangle, there you go, with the bangs. So, well, you're all memory mavens. Okay, very good. So just to summarize, I think that it's important if somebody has a cognitive problem that's affecting their health to see their doctor, because doctors can help, and the earlier we intervene, the better the outcome. I'm excited about the research that's going on right now, that I think that within the next decade or so, we're going to see some better treatments. In the meantime, while we're waiting for science to catch up, there's a lot we all can do right now to feel better, to improve our physical health and our brain health, and possibly stave off future symptoms of Alzheimer's. For more information about the book, drgarysmall.com, drgarysmall.com. For information on our programs at the UCLA Longevity Center, longevity.ucla.edu. Thank you so much.